Hello, my friend, and welcome to Being Brave. I'm your host, Sasha Lipskaia, an intuitive guide, coach, and advisor to powerful, ambitious, faith-led, visionary leaders like you who are here to walk the path of truth, love, faith, and service. I pray that this show will bless you and empower you and inspire you to follow the deepest vision that God has given you so that you can align yourself to the truth of who you were born to be and live with purpose, power, peace, and courage to be brave and embody everything that you were created to become. Let's play. Okay, welcome. I am really excited. I'm here with a good friend of mine, also an incredible coach for anybody who wants to find spiritual alignment and sustainable business strategy for whatever work you do. She does everything. I'll let her talk a little bit more about her in a moment, but Danielle Laura is also a seer. She is an intuitive. She is a brilliant strategist. She is an incredible space holder. She is just magnificent in how she shows up for the people that she's there for. When I was at my lowest, she was there. When I was at my highest, she was there. When I was in between not knowing what to do, she was there. And she showed up the same way in every moment. And I have to say, Danielle, like the fact that I'm here right now talking to you in this format, doing everything I'm doing, I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you. Thank you. And welcome to Being Brave.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. I appreciate you so much. It has been such a beautiful journey witnessing you in all of your glory over the last several years too. And so excited you're coming back, right, in your full purpose, your full God-given gifting, and it's so exciting to see.
Thank you. And when you say that, and when you say God-given gifting, and we're going to talk about this on the episode today, just for anyone listening who is really curious, right, about really understanding their gifting and what they're meant to do and how they're meant to lead and what they're meant to create. And we're talking really about the visionary, right? We're talking about the creator, the CEO, the founder, the entrepreneur. We're talking to you. Hear this woman and how she uses these words. This is not woo-woo. This is not, hoopla. This is not performance. This is not just spiritual lingo. Like these words, spiritual gifting, God-given gifts, when coming from someone who's actually living hers, like this means truth, right? When you speak in that way, so thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you came to do the work that you do.
Yes. Well, essentially, the short version is after really chasing everything that I thought would bring me success and fulfillment and that the world said I should do to be happy and be a good person in the world, et cetera, all these things, I finally started questioning everything and had a spiritual awakening, basically realized that the life that I was living was not my own. I was not actually following God's path for me. I was following the path that I thought would please everybody else in my life, to the point of so much self-abandonment and self-betrayal to where I couldn't do that anymore, right? And uncovered my gifting, that really was basically plaguing me my entire life, right? And ended up leaving the medical field and starting my own business almost 8 years ago. And it has been a beautiful journey to now of essentially helping other visionaries really path of least resistance come into everything that is a part of their anointing and bringing it to life by the path of least resistance, by being who they are, living their truest God-given gifting, and eliminating anything that is not that, so that everything can flow faster, aligned, and with deep fulfillment.
Mm. Tell us more about gifting. Like, what is it for you? How do you see it in somebody? How do you see it in yourself? What do we mean by that?
I believe we all have spiritual gifts, meaning like sometimes maybe people might call it a zone of genius, right? Or something you're amazing at, right? Something that is just so innately you. And sometimes you might not even think that it's a spiritual gifting because it might just be so innate to your personality, right? A lot of people are like, oh, that's just who I am. Oh, it's just my personality. But those are actually the pieces of your most greatest spiritual gifting and offerings that you get to give to the world because it's who you are and it's who you were designed to be. And I see gifting in people immediately. Like, I think one of my spiritual gifts is seeing your spiritual gifts, right? Like, it's so evident for me to see pretty much immediately with someone. And it's those sparks. It's those sparks of light. It's those zones of genius. It's the way someone talks about something with so much passion. It's the groundedness, the embodiment of who they are when they're being this version of themselves that stands out so easily.
As you say that, I could feel this, yeah, there's just this love to bringing out others' light, right? The love that you have for the work that you do, and that is the work you do. You literally like shine the light on other people's light, and then you help them understand, right, how to work with it, how to actually use these gifts, because like you said, they can actually, in your experience, right, your personal story, they can actually weight you down, right? They can actually, in a way, like block you. So can you talk a little bit about that? What would be the symptoms of that, and what do we do?
Yeah, you know you are blocking your gifting
Mm.
when there is something you really feel called to do, or just like a nudge, a prompting of something you want to do, but you keep getting in your own way. You keep creating resistance. You create excuses where there aren't any. You create a mountain, you create a roadblock where there really isn't one, right? And oftentimes it's because unconsciously we're afraid of our power if we fully own it. Maybe because of what will happen on the other side, right? Are we going to lose friends, a family member, right? Things like this. Is it going to make us uncomfortable because we have to get out of our comfort zone? Do we have an unconscious bias towards feeling like, oh, we're going to be too in our ego if we're just owning our power, right? Rather than the truth, which is when we own our gifting, it is backed with this holy conviction that the world needs, right? Because the truth is that if we're not living our gifting, we're actually doing the world a huge disservice.
You said something so beautiful. Holy conviction. Like that's powerful. Like just the understanding of what that means for someone who might be doubting, right? Their gifting, and they might be doubting that they're meant to use these gifts that they have. And I love also how you shared, some people might call it zone of genius,
Hmm.
right? It's not like we don't need to use the same word to understand what we're talking about, but it's helpful. Just like when you and I talk about God. Okay, well, somebody might say higher power. Okay, right? We are talking about the same thing. So as much as, I'm a woman of Christian faith, I can talk about Jesus, and I can meet you, whoever's listening, where you are in that path, and
Hmm.
understand that spiritual gifting isn't about necessarily, right, being a seer, right,
Hmm.
or working in some other realm or dimension, right, or being a spiritual person, whatever it is, or spiritual entrepreneur. Like, there are no labels. Spiritual gifting only means that it is the gift that was given to you. Talk more about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, like people
Yeah.
think that they're like, oh, I don't have gifts. It's
Mm-hmm.
just my personality. But again, it's like, what is that thing
Mm-hmm.
that is so intrinsic to you? The thing that
Mm-hmm.
maybe you have loved your entire life. You've had maybe this illogical interest in, right?
Mm.
The
Mhm.
thing that you could talk about for an hour straight without touching your breath, right? Because it's so intrinsic to you and it's such a passion of yours. most of the time, these are things that are actually part of your greatest gifting. And
Mm.
sometimes we have to get out of ourselves and let someone else show us what that is, right? So you could even go and pause this now and go ask like 5 people in your life to describe you, right? Or describe what they think is your greatest gift. And you are going to see themes because it is obvious to people around you. And sometimes it's not so obvious to ourselves because we just chalk it up to, oh, that's just my personality. But you're going to see themes in the way that people describe you, the things that people see in you, that there's commonality there because it's your gifting. It's who you absolutely are at your core, that usually it's a lot easier for other people to see sometimes. But if you think about what are those passions? What are the things that I could talk about for an hour? What are the things when I was little that I wanted to like learn or study, right? That nobody was forcing me to do. All of those things are clues into your greatest gifts.
Yes. And you, of course, right, in your work, you're able to see these gifts from a different perspective. It's not just skills, that you should master to then succeed at this career. It's so that you recognize how you really do have a unique mission, if we want to call it that, we can. I mean, some people don't like that word, but we'll call it that. A mission being, it could be that your motherhood is a mission, right? It doesn't have to be a business
Yeah.
necessarily. That being
Yeah.
said, you work primarily, and I do too, with, people who are focused on creating work in the world that is helping other people by means of services, right? And or goods, so business. But that is just a vehicle, right, for your gifting to be received by people in the world that need what you've been given. So it's like your capacity to understand your gifts and understand how to use them is it's almost like your responsibility to the world, right? To have like to be a steward of what you've been given. Yeah. Hmm. Would you, because this conversation, and I'm excited to go where we're going, but this conversation is really important for anybody who is looking for guidance, right? And support and maybe strategies, right? And or a container where they can go deeper and understand their gifting and understand their higher calling, perhaps, even if they're already doing amazing work in the world and they already know, right? That holy conviction of their gifting is there, but perhaps there is a refinement missing, right? There is lack
Mm,
of clarity. There
yeah.
is a deeper edge, right? The brighter
Mhm.
the light, the bigger the shadow, right? And there is also a level that we hit at a certain point, and that's what happened to me, where you can see it from different perspectives, psychologically, spiritually, but you start sabotaging yourself and
Yeah.
creating all kinds of stories and monsters, right? And all kinds of situations start happening in your life to make you doubt your gifting, doubt your purpose, doubt that you actually are of service and value to the world, so that you're out of the game, pretty much. It's taking you out, right? So that's hitting the upper limit, whatever you want to call it. I also call it like genius guilt, a scattered brilliance, right? It's like, I can do all the things. You're just literally suffocating yourself. You're like the bottleneck of your own gifting. So we're going to go into a conversation in a second about how to discern, right, where you can get, for lack of a better word, kosher support, right, and guidance and tools and leadership that you can trust, not just in the realm of spiritual guidance and coaching, right, and like emotional or intuitive development, but really just like business strategy, right? And we see a lot of promises being made online in the coaching industry, in the
Mm.
personal development that's been ongoing for years and years, and that's natural, right? There will always be a dark side, but we want to talk about specifically what you and I are seeing right now
Yeah.
in our industry that we are not so much, I wouldn't say we're worried about, but it's very concerning. I guess concerning is worrying, but we're not worried about it because it's natural that this is
Yeah.
happening and there is nothing that we need to necessarily do about it. It's just to be aware and to know how to discern, right? What is actually valuable and what is nonsense, to put it mildly, right? Like,
Mm.
yeah, just that. But what would you say? right, to somebody who is on the spiritual growth path, the personal development path. Maybe they're not necessarily looking for a guide or a coach, but they're on the path, right? They're reading the books, they're listening to the podcast, right? There's the Tony Robbins, there's the Mel Robbins, right? There's Marie Forleo, there are all these visionaries online, Diary of CEO, Alex Hormozy, you and I talk a lot about. Secular or not,
Yeah.
people who are on the path of, I want to perform at the highest level and
Mhm.
give more and more and more of myself to the world, and I want to create tangible success, right? Soul aligned and tangible. This person, what do they need to know about what coaching and mentorship and advising, consulting, you can call it, there are different ways of exploring
Yeah.
what you and I do, what it is and what it isn't?
Yes. So there's so many things that come to my mind for this,
Yes,
right? And
go,
things
go.
to look for, right? So
Yes.
for one, I think if you are in this phase, you really need to ask yourself if you are willing to be led. And if so, how do you need to be led? Do you need someone who is more of a coach who is going to probe and ask you questions that bring about these answers for yourself, right, in a more reflective way? Are you in a phase or a period where you might need more advisory or consulting, meaning you need somebody to just tell you what you can't see, show you the way, and then help you execute it, essentially, right? Or are you really just a seeker right now and you are just seeking knowledge and then later you will figure out what you want to do with that, right? First, I think get clear on where are you in those phases because that's going to determine who you should potentially work with or seek support from. Right. So first getting really clear on where are you and what kind of support do you actually need? Right. And then I think when it comes down to choosing this person, right, whoever this might be for you, I think we really need to look at truth, right? Because there is a lot of performance online. There is a lot of shows, right? There is a lot of great marketers out there. But what is beneath that? Does this person, especially if you're hiring someone to support you, right? Does this person actually have substance and grounded, embodied, lived wisdom on what they are potentially going to be helping you do, right? Or the result that potentially you want to create together? Or is this just like a big show?
Hmm.
Right? Because what I've found is a lot of times the best marketers, the ones that put on the best show and they have all the hype and hoopla around it, don't actually know how to create a result for you.
Yeah.
Right? Versus sometimes it's not the best marketer out there, but it's somebody who lives it to such an extraordinary way that can help you brilliantly. So really use your discernment meter and really look through all of the smoke and mirrors, look through the shine and really see, is there substance here? Is there depth here? Is this the person that can actually help me get the end result that I am looking for?
I love how you said lived wisdom and substance, right? Like that you can't you can't perform it. It's felt, right? It's experienced in the presence of the person or maybe it's a group of people that you want to work with. It depends, right? But just making sure you have that experience before you trust somebody essentially, right? To lead you. And what would you say right now, right? What are you focused on creating in the work that you're doing and how you're leading people? I know that you're working on right now I'll let you introduce it, a container, right? An experience. And what makes it different and how is it speaking to what you just said?
Yeah. I think first there's a caveat here, right, around things because there's a lot of regurgitated information online, right? And a lot of people out there are teaching or portraying they're going to help you create some sort of result, but they haven't lived it. They don't actually do it, right? They are borrowing someone else's methodologies and they're just reteaching things that they've learned, which there's something bad inherently around that, right? But the difference in terms of the transformation you're actually going to receive is going to be based on, is this somebody that is regurgitating information because they borrowed this from someone else, or they saw it on a YouTube channel, or they heard it on 4 different podcasts, or have they lived the transformation that they are helping you move through? I think that's the big piece of it here. So for me, I have many ways that I work with people, but right now I'm so excited about Clear the Master Heart, which is my year-long experience for the visionaries, for the rare leaders that know they are so deeply anointed and have a mission bigger than themselves that they want to bring into this world. And we are really stripping away anything that is not truly who they are, any part of performance or self-abandonment or betrayal, or feeling like they have to overwork or deplete themselves for the sake of service. And we're stripping all of that away. And we're coming into the most potent aspect of their spiritual gifting and who they are, and leading from that space. Because from that space, mastering yourself and how that applies to every other domain of your life, everything begins to thrive from there. And that is something that I have lived over and over and over throughout my life, right? And the
Yeah.
refinement of who you really are, the depths of your gifting, the depths of your mission, the depths of your leadership, and then actually leading and living from that potent place. So that encompasses your business, your relationships, your health, your wealth, spirituality, your legacy, all parts of you. It's really a whole woman reclamation, because that is truly what creates liberation. When we don't segment any part of our lives, but we see it all as the totality, multidimensional beings that we are, and that one part of our life doesn't have to give just because we want success in another part of our life. We get to have it all. Truly. But
Mhm.
how do we do that? By the path of least resistance is we get to master ourselves. And that is what I've dedicated my whole life to doing, right? And that is what I'm going to be leading people through in this experience. And I'm very excited about it.
Wow. No, I'm just really excited because I'm going to be joining you there. So and
Yeah.
I've experienced your work before. So I know, it's not about the tools, right? It's not about what you use, and because you use a variety of tools, but it's not about that. It's like you said, about the transformation you have experienced, and you are able to not just guide somebody through, but also really hold them in, right? So that they actually receive it. So they actually embody it in the way that they're meant to, not you, right? And so that it takes a lot of work, and it definitely takes a lot of ongoing self-work, right? It's like, that's the whole point. You are the instrument, and that is a lot of responsibility. So yes, and I know how much work you do. So that being said, we love the work, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you speak a little bit to, and this is where I know that we were really interested in discussing this today, and we'll have more conversations about this. But like you said, there is a lot of noise,
Hmm.
right? There is a lot of really skilled performances. There are a lot of skilled performances being offered as containers for possible transformation and or even healing to people that are seeking, right? That are really hungry for it. And so I wonder if you could speak a little bit to like the the nonsense, right? But also just the things to look out for,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? When somebody's connecting with, let's say, potential coach or guide or teacher or mentor. And I've been through it, right? And you've been through it. We've all invested and committed to perhaps leadership that in the end we didn't really feel aligned to. So, right, this is for everyone. How do we discern from just the first glance, like what is true and what isn't?
Yes. There are 3 things that come to my
Mm-hmm.
mind for this. First is, as we kind of mentioned earlier, is this a show? Is this very
Mm-hmm.
performative, or is there anything actually grounded in reality and depth and substance here? Right? Because let's just be honest, right? Like a lot of people in the world, especially when we are at a point of, let's call it pain, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's something that is tearing us apart, right? Like there is inevitably something that is contrasting to what we want, right? So when we are in that state, typically we like the hype and the motivation and the hoopla, right? Around
Mm-hmm.
what's on the other side of that. And that's amazing. But there's a lot of show around this is my life and this is what I've done and look at this. If I did it, you can do it too. When in reality, that is not always real because what worked for one person does not necessarily mean it's going to work for you. And this is
Mm-hmm.
why I am such a big proponent on customized approaches
Mm-hmm.
because we get sold this dream. And if we just follow exactly these steps, we too can have this dream. But
Mm-hmm.
that is very rarely ever the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's really look at what is actually going on here, right? And that brings me to my second point, which is there a clear ROI? Is there a clear result? And sometimes in some niches, especially in the healing and spiritual niches, sometimes those results are more intangible. Maybe it's not something so concrete. Maybe it is something like a regulated nervous system that allows you to feel more at ease in your day to day life or a sense of fulfillment, right? So it doesn't have to always be you're making 10 times more in your business in 90 days, right? It doesn't always have to be so tangible. But what is the actual result and or ROI that this program or person is promising you, right? And is it clear? Or if you're looking at it, is it really just a bunch of emotions that is just drawing you in? There's so much, let's say, emotional provocation online in marketing today. But if you really read between the lines and read between the words, what are they actually saying? Is this just like a bunch of motivational speak and rah rah and we're going to do this? Or is there an actual ROI here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they saying versus what is real, right? And really using that discernment factor there. And the third piece, and you and I talked about this, and you brought up
Mm-hmm.
this point, which is so brilliant, which is what part of me wants this potential ROI? And what I mean by that is a lot of times there's a part of us that is unhealed, potentially a part of our wounding from childhood, right? Or from a different part of our life. And that is the propeller as to why we want this particular result. When in reality, we might not actually really want that, right? So what part of us is driving us, right? If you are wanting to be a part of this big, let's say, this big mastermind with the it girl coach for whatever reason, right? Nothing wrong with that. But what part of you is wanting that? Is it the high school version of you that didn't get invited to the parties that now you want to be a part of? So you're choosing this when in reality, it's maybe stretching you way out of your capacity financially that might actually do a lot of harm potentially, right? If you're not careful and you're not doing your part, right, as well, right? Or is this coming from your higher self? Is this coming from the healed, healthy, whole version of you that knows that what's on the other side is what this person is going to be able to provide for you? Really get honest with yourself, right? Get hot,
Mm-hmm.
as I like to say, honest, open, transparent from your
Mm-hmm.
mind, your body, and your spirit. What part of me is wanting this? And is that a wounded old version of me? Or is that my higher self? And
Mm-hmm.
to be really honest with yourself, that might completely change the trajectory of whether or not you join X, Y, and Z person or program.
Mm. Thank you for that. Yeah, that hot, right? That hot
Mhm.
being holding yourself to the fire, right? Of well, who do I want to be?
Mhm.
Because that part of you is who you're going to feed, right? You're like, well, this is who gets to come to the party then.
Yeah.
Um, is it going to be your wounded self, right? Or you want to call the traumatized self, or just the self, the part of you that just feels inadequate, right? And less than. And we all have parts of us that feel
Yeah.
that way. I mean, I know I do. And so I love that this is not about judging, right? Or criticizing yourself for wanting to work with somebody or join a program. It's simply understanding, well, what's the gift actually of you wanting to do
Yes.
that? What are you being shown? And what is it that you actually need to get to your goal ultimately, right? What is your goal? Is it to feel welcome and popular and liked? which is, again, great. It's a great experience. And, is it actually what you want more than anything right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because we actually talked about this, is when and I would love to hear your thoughts on this, when you have a purpose that's really deep, right? And very clear, very clear. You're like, this is it. Like, I'm convicted in my purpose. This is it. Nothing matters. Like, it's like you're that, that girl that nobody wants to play with in high school, but like, you don't care because you're over there in the library reading all the books about the thing that, yes, you might be a little bit upset that, I don't have that many friends and I'm not invited to the popular, but you're more passionate about the thing that you're passionate about than about feeling sad and sorry for yourself, which, again, as young people, we don't have that much emotional capacity, right, to always be that and do that. But I also know that we always have that moment, right, when we're being rejected or criticized or judged, which you have a lot of experience with, where you suddenly feel even more devoted to what you are passionate about. It's like, well, fine, right? Like, if I'm going to create my own party, right? Like, I'm here, like, this is it. This is my purpose, right? And then I'm going to invite people to my party that I want to be there with. It's like, this is it. That's what you do. It's like, come into the space that I'm building for you, because there was no space like this before. And that's why I built it, because I needed it. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's so special, right? Is really from the creation side as well as from the consuming side, right? From the creation side, even if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, right?
Yeah.
What do I want to create? Because it's what I wished I would have had and it wasn't there, right? I get every single thing that I birth is from that place, right? From feeling like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
wish I would have had this. Right. And so I bring it to the world. Right. And if you're a visionary, you do too. I guarantee if you could look back on your patterns, you would see, oh, yeah, I wanted to bring something to the world that I didn't have and wish that I did. Right. And if you are a consumer of something, of a program or a coach or advisor, whatever, what is it that you really need, that you really
Mm.
actually need to get to your next level? And maybe it's that you actually don't need anyone. Maybe you just need to trust yourself and implement on all the things you've already learned, right? That could be a thing.
Mm. I love that thing. Talk more about that, because I think, and this is so cool because you and I have had many conversations, and I remember the first podcast ever that we did, you shared it, and then I think somebody commented like, why are you promoting this other coach where you guys are doing like, kind of like you're like in the same niche, your competitors, like, and you remember you were like messaging me, this is so funny, like this would never even occur to me, because I don't see it that way, right? At all. And that's why I find our friendship so cool, because we both never have. And it's just, we also don't do the same thing. But you could say that we're in the same realm, same niche. We work with similar, kinds of people. So can you talk a little bit to what you said? Because what you were saying is you might not even need a coach to begin with. You might not need a program, whether it's another program or your first program or whatever it is. You might be really good exactly where you are with the free tools available, the education that, is online. We have all the podcasts on the YouTube and, the whatever support you already have. How would you advise somebody who is unsure, right? To know the difference between it's just a clutch, right? I'm like clutching onto something that to save me, right? And a shiny object syndrome, which is not the same thing, but it's that realm of you don't actually need this. You're literally escaping what you need to be with. Versus, you do actually need support. Like this is an important part of your next level, right? Like you make the choice of the investment you need to make in yourself, whether it's business coaching and whatever else. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first part I would ask you to ask yourself is, have I actually implemented the other pieces that I have learned already, or that I have hired XYZ coach for, or that I took in that program? Chances are you haven't. Right. Chances are you just didn't want to do it, right? Or it didn't resonate. So you're going from coach to coach or program to program, thinking that the next thing is going to be the fit or the magical entry point that's going to change your whole world. But the magical thing that changes your whole world is actually taking action, right? So number one, have you actually implemented the things that you have learned or invested in previously? If you have, right? And you've tried them and you've done the things and maybe you still are not seeing the results, or you know that there's a next level to that and you're branching off into something new that you have never done before and you have no idea how to approach, then absolutely, you're probably going to need some support with that for
Mm,
sure.
mhm.
But if you have taken all the things and done all the different programs and this, that, and the other, and you haven't implemented them and you're just trying to go to the next thing, chances are you really don't need it. You actually need to trust yourself. And that's probably the invitation for you.
I love that because without that, right, without that trust and faith, they're not the same thing, but the faith that, yes, there is a bigger plan and you need to trust yourself to do the work
Mm-hmm.
and to know the difference also between something that you may have tried that isn't aligned, right? It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. But then choosing the next thing from that place of, well, what do I actually need, right? Why wasn't it aligned, right? And so, and this is why it's so cool that you, right, Danielle, can talk to this. You have so much certainty, right, in your own purpose and what you do and the results that you produce for people that you don't need to compete or, again, be afraid that if you tell somebody, actually, you don't need coaching, that, oh, you will not ever, get to work with them. And like, no, good. Well, they don't need you. That's wonderful, right? There's somebody who does, and they will come in and you will assess whether they actually need you or not. And so that there is that integrity, right, of what is the actual gift here? Would it be working with you or would it actually be not, right? Because that
Yeah.
space is what you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there have
Yeah.
been many people I've
Yeah.
turned away and was
Yeah.
honest with. But you know what? Actually, I don't think you need anyone right now. I think you need to trust
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And here's what I would recommend. And here's the
Mm-hmm.
action steps that I could foresee for you should you choose them. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not afraid, as we just talked about, like
Yep.
I will recommend somebody else immediately if I feel like somebody else is a better fit. Because here's the thing. If you believe, I am here to change the world. And I know I can't do that all on my own. And I know not everybody is going to be the right fit for me to work with.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to have the best collaborators with me, the best referral partners, even in my own field.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Right. To
Mm-hmm.
refer out to, because the most important thing is if you believe you are here for a bigger purpose, and that is to
Mm.
make a positive impact in the world. It doesn't always have to be via you. Maybe the gift is you recommend them to someone else who you know could actually be a better fit for them.
Mm-hmm.
And letting someone else's light shine does not take away from your own. We live in an abundant universe. There is more than enough to go around for everyone, right? So let's just give the person what they actually need, whether or not that is your services.
I love that. That connects to, I didn't anticipate to go here, but we actually originally wanted to talk about that. That being, again, the dark side of the coaching industry, right? It's like, okay, well, so I understand there is performance. We don't know people's hearts, right? We don't know what's behind the wall, but from the overall experience of firsthand experiencers, right, and our own, we want to be very discerning for our own sakes, right? To know who we can trust, who we want to hire, potentially also work with, whether we're their clients or their coaches or their advisors. It's a partnership, right? And so I'm so grateful that, again, you're one of my partners in this, and I trust you fully, right? If you recommend anyone to me or you suggest, I trust you, I'm so grateful that you just said that. I was like, that's the point of service, right? Like, we're not meant to do it alone. Like, we are meant to grow together. That's the whole point of, I think, humanity, is to build something together in our unique gifting, right? And that, like, so that it's like this masterpiece that we're creating. This masterpiece being a world we actually want to live in, right? With good people doing good work in integrity with their purpose, right? That's it. Very simple, right? Like, very simple. So the question that I have on what you just said is, like you said, there's more than enough for everyone, right? And there is, I think, sometimes just the danger and I have experienced it, of falling into ego, fear, right, lack, where you see someone else shine, like you said, like your light doesn't diminish. If anything, like I get to amplify yours, mine amplifies as I do that. Like it's just like one light, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just saw, Alex Hormozy launch and go, I don't know, like go crazy with
Yeah.
with basically, be creating a new world record in the amount of books that he sold, right? And creating $100 million in his launch, which is called $100 million money models, right? So literally living the proof of his own framework, which is what he does. And we saw some interesting responses online, right? That felt to me anyway, as if they were coming from that place of, lack and uncertainty and just the feeling of scarcity, right? Of like, if he wins, then somehow everyone else or most people will lose, or, there's this feeling of intimidation, I guess, right? When somebody is that successful. And to me, like when I saw that, I'm so excited. I'm so grateful that he's around. I mean, I'll talk about him more, but I mean, really, like, holy crap, the guy is a legend. Good for him. And can you talk about this? Yeah, I wouldn't say it's that weird. It's a human response, but
Huh.
what is it showing us? What do we need to be aware of as entrepreneurs, right? But also as consumers of content, right? If people we're following, people want to choose to work with, again, the discernment, how to know when someone is here for your light. And that's something you do in your program. You spoke to that, right? Just understanding how important it is to work with somebody who not just sees your light, but there's more, right? There is more. So talk about that. Yeah.
Yes. I think that's the perfect example with Alex Hormozy, right? And all of the stuff that's just happened because there's so much polarity around this. And when you are, let's say maybe triggered or activated by someone or something, right? You have a choice. You can immediately decide they are bad and wrong and go against them and bash them, right? Because it's more comfortable for you to just live in your comfort zone and make them wrong for doing what they're doing. Or you can choose to see it as inspiration of what is actually possible. Realizing that that person's success, who has no idea who you even exist, right? That is not taking away from you and what you can create in the world. If anything, you can allow it to be a level of inspiration of, oh, what is possible for me too, if I want it, right? And so really allowing the light states to take over your life rather than being led by your shadow states, right? And what I mean by that is like, what is the truth versus what is fear? Right? What is fear? Fear is the thing that's going to try to keep you small or try to create a distance between you and someone else or make them wrong or bad because you don't fully understand it or you don't your mind can't conceive how that would be possible. So we just negate it instead of trying to think and instead of trying to see how it could be possible, we just shut it down because it's easier to do that. Right? But the invitation, I think, always is into your light,
Mhm.
which is what is the truth? And what does
Mhm.
this create for me? And what kind of possibility could exist in my world if I believed that I could do what this person did,
Mhm.
right? That will change your life. And especially working with someone, if you are investing in your growth, working with someone who sees your highest light and who sees your highest evolution and calls you into that and does not allow you to stay in your shadow, right? That is the thing that's going to set you free.
Mm. And I will put you on the spot to say you didn't. I mean, Danielle's one of the most humble people I've ever met, and so like something you said to me when you were talking about this program, which I was like, oh, you're talking to me. You said, somebody to see your light and to not in any way, right? And this is, again, people don't do it intentionally necessarily, right? It's not coming from a mean desire no, but it is coming from the shadow that people don't realize we all have, right? It's somebody who will see your light and not be intimidated by it, right?
Yes.
And even if they do, obviously human, right? They might feel a level of, oh goodness, like this person is, they will see, right, their own light take over and they will see to that is
Yeah.
what I mean. And they will make sure that then the invitation is, oh, okay, I'm being triggered. I'm intimidated, maybe, right? Okay, I'm a human being. What's the lesson? What's the gift for me? How can I grow into a more powerful leader, a more powerful coach, right? A more powerful truth teller so that I can help this person shine even more, right? So that like this intimidation or this moment of triggering becomes a gift for you and for them. That takes spiritual capacity. That takes a like Navy SEAL mindset of, you know who you are, you know your value, your worth, right? Beyond value is the worth of you as a human and your soul, right? And what you're meant to do. And from there, all you want to do is elevate everyone else, right? It's like, I just want to feast with everyone, right? Because we know that it is God working through everyone, whether they believe in God or not, right? And I can see that. And so what a gift when we do get triggered, right? To see that, oh, my humanity is coming through this great. So it's humbling me. How do I leverage this to grow into the person I'm meant to be so that I can really serve this human being that I'm not even, maybe not working with, right? But seeing Alex Ramosi and his success, like, important distinction. He offers a lot of value and it actually is valuable. And there's no hoopla. It's not performative. It's not nonsense. This is why what we're talking about here is actually supporting somebody who is successful. Yes, is showing you a wealth, right? Pun intended, of the things that he's achieved, right? And showing you how to achieve them. If you want that, right? Again, if you want that, there's always the caveat. You don't have to do it the way that he's teaching it if you don't. And he never basically teaches you anything that he thinks you should do. He says, this is what I do. If you want to do what I do, this is what works. But here's the thing. It's actually serving people. It's not a charade. It's not a performance. It's not any kind of pyramid scheme or, trying to convince you that you need something you don't, right? And so that's why, yes, I'm here to celebrate him. I'm here to clap. I'm here to say, go Alex, even if I don't necessarily fit into his ideal client, right? And I'm not really meant to work with him in the way that maybe he would want to work with somebody right now, right? That's amazing because great. The whole point is somebody's doing amazing things. They're creating incredible value in the world. It's tangible and real. They're telling the truth about the fact that what they do works for them in the way that they want it to work. That's it. That's all. Take it or leave it. That in itself, right, requires a lot of courage and conviction. It's exactly what you do, right? It's like, this is what I do. This is what works for me and my clients. I know it does. It's the truth. If you want to do it with me, you can. If you don't, great, right? Great for you. Like I'm just here to share and support and elevate anyone who wants that. In however they want to be elevated and supported. It doesn't have to be through them paying you to be your client. You literally witnessing people. I've seen you do it, right? Just be in conversation with them. That's it. So yes. And when we see someone, doing or saying something that we feel isn't honest, isn't true, then of course we're called to discern and call it for what it is and walk away. Or I'm not here to support everyone and anyone who claims to be successful just because they claim to be successful.
Right.
I'm here to support people that I feel deserve it. That's to put it in mild terms, right? But deserve it in the sense that they put in the work and they're honest about it and it's actually offering people value.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We don't have to agree, right? It's just that it's valuable to people and I want to support that.
And you know what? When you get to a certain level, I see this so commonly, is when you get to a certain level of entrepreneurship or even a certain level of your own confidence as the visionary that you are, you want to know that the person that you are investing in to help you wants to see you shine without flinching, right? And the problem, the shadow, is that so many people do want to see you shine, but they don't want you to outshine them. So this is where your discernment meter needs to come in terms of when you're hiring someone, right? Is this person going to give me just enough so I'm just successful enough, but not outshining them? Or are they going to give me everything without holding back for me to be the highest and greatest version of myself, even if that means I surpass them? Ask yourself that. You are going to know in the depths of your soul what the answer to that is, but you have to trust yourself, right? And what else? Again, and what is this person's values? If they believe they're here to genuinely change the world, not because they're just here to make a bunch of money, but because this is their calling. This is their mission on this earth. For me, this is my mission. This is beyond just having a business and making money. This is my calling on the earth, right? So there was nothing that I will withhold to have my people shine. I've had so many clients way surpass me in various areas. I love that. Great. Because that's meant for you. Whatever is meant for you, I want to help you bring to life. Right? So think about that. Does the person also that you're investing in or learning from have truly your best interest in mind, or do they have their best interest in mind?
Well, that hit hard, girl. I'm like, whoa. But thank you for articulating that so clearly. I think that's a whole podcast episode of its own. And this is not meant to throw people under the bus. We don't know, right? I don't know, but it is to invite myself and you, because we talked about it as I was coming back to the industry, like, protect yourself, be discerning, be aware, right? Just choose carefully who you choose to associate with, right? Because there's just a lot of stuff happening in the coaching, the personal development, in the business. It's all one industry, right? And it's almost like it's so amorphous sometimes. You don't even know, like, oh, is this a business coach, or is this a leadership coach, or is this a mindset? It's all of the above. And sometimes it is, and that's great. But it's so important to, like you said, you keep coming back to the same, I think, just golden nugget. And it's such a simple one. And we hear it all the time. And yet I want you to speak a little bit more on that. Trusting yourself. What is that?
Well, I believe we all have a deep level of intuition. It's a matter of how attuned are we to trusting it versus how attuned are we to giving our power away to someone else, right? And we always know. You always know. You just don't always trust it. And so what if you did trust it today? What if you said something in the affirmative, right? And this is how we can test our intuition, right? We say maybe we have a couple options. We're going to speak one option out loud in the affirmative. So we'll say, I'm going to invest in Clear the Master Heart with Danielle, right?
Yeah.
For example.
Yes.
When you say the thing in the affirmative, what is your body's innate intelligence telling you? If you feel a lightness, almost the slightest little tingle, maybe that energy is moving up your energy body more towards your head, right? It is light, it's expansive, or even so subtly neutral. That is your innate intelligence saying, yes, this is aligned for you. Versus if you say the decision in the affirmative and immediately you feel a heaviness, a queasiness, or the energy going down your energy body like it's going towards your legs, that is your body's innate intelligence saying, this is no for you. This is not aligned. This is not truth. So in any decision that you have, say it in the affirmative. Let your body tell you what is truth. Get out of your head and get into your body. Your body is always going to know before your mind does. Your mind's going to play tricks on you. Your mind's going to give you every excuse as to why you can't trust it. But your body doesn't lie. Right?
I mean, amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you did say, and this is important, you have to be attuned to it. It's an instrument, right? The intuitive pathway is something you need to train. If you don't, right, have that capacity yet, it's not that you're broken. It's simply that you haven't practiced it. That literally, it's almost like that commitment to developing a relationship with yourself from a different place, right? It's not just, like you said, in your head and this is not to people to not be confused, right? It's not about emotion, right? It's not about, oh, this feels so exciting. I'm just so excited. Like, no, you could get really excited when you're on drugs, right? And you could get really excited when something really awful is happening, right? Our emotions are deceiving, right? And they absolutely can lead you to truth. Yes, they can. But it's not about emotion. It's not about passion in the moment, right? It's not about exaltation or infatuation, like you're under a spell, which we'll talk about another episode, which also, like, it's an actual experience. Like, oh, you're just literally being like enchanted, right, by the razzle dazzle, right, of somebody's presence. And it's a real thing. So when you, like you said, retreat and spend some time with no stimuli, right, no confusion, and you're not in a place of over emoting, that's important as
Mhm.
well, right? Just being in the space of peace, right, and presence and acute listening
Yes.
and curiosity, right? And that, like you said, just, oh, what is it telling me? Right? What is it telling me? And just that, like that's you developing that trust that you spoke about. It's like, I'm learning to trust myself here.
I'm so glad you said that because it's so pivotal. Intuition is not loud. Intuition is
Mm-hmm.
emotionally neutral, right? It
Mm-hmm.
whispers, whereas
Mm-hmm.
fear screams,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it is really peace versus fear, right? Your intuition
Mm-hmm.
is just going to be a knowingness, a loving nudge. It's going to feel like peace, almost feel totally neutral because it's not going to push you. Fear and ego is going to scream. It's going to be loud. It's going to have so much emotion attached to it. So notice that as well.
Mm. That's a whole other episode, like, because that, that speaks to FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, like all the tactics of like scarcity, right? And it's like trying to get you to feel overwhelm and fear and yes, lack, right? And that you don't have enough time and you need this thing and you don't have the space to even ask the question of, do I? Like, there's no time, right? Because you're so overwhelmed with emotion that's coming from fear.
Yes.
Peace is not an emotion. Peace is a state and you have to cultivate it. So very different, right? It's like we get confused. Like, I just want to feel peaceful. You don't feel peaceful. You experience peace, but peace is a state. Like, it is solid. You can feel really scared and peaceful.
True. Yes.
It's like, I'm terrified right now. And I know who I am. I know how to find the truth. I have faith. Let me choose the right thing to do so that whatever scares me becomes the greatest opportunity in my life, right?
Exactly.
That's it. But that you can only do when you are doing that work, that inner work. It's not,
Hmm.
again, it's not woo. It's it's physiologically proven, right? And it's scientifically based, actually. So I'm so grateful that you get to speak to that, right now, because Danielle's very humble again. She's got a master's and like she's just tell us a little bit about your background, because you worked in oncology, right? You ran tell us a little bit, just a little bit, so that people understand where you're coming from.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So I started in nursing,
Yeah.
became a clinical therapist, ran a medical center. Yeah, I was the CEO of a medical center, then started my business. And it's been 8 years now. Worked with people all over the world, celebrities, CEOs,
Yeah.
executives of Fortune 500s, all of that stuff. But it's beautiful to see the power that we all have, which is in just being exactly who God designed us,
Mm,
right? And
yeah.
that's the work I do.
I know. And you don't lead with your, quote unquote academic credentials, right? Or your experience as a CEO. It's part of your experience. It's definitely something you use, and it's created this opportunity for you to do the work you do. But it is important to say that everything you teach, it comes grounded in experience
Yes.
as a clinical psychologist, as a nurse working with people living with, tremendous suffering, right? And all of that, right? Now coming to a place of doing the work you do, it's true. Like, what you do is grounded in truth.
Yes.
Because I know it from experience, but also, right, if just by uh, understanding what you do from psychological, emotional, spiritual, physiological level, it must be done in all those planes, right? And it doesn't have to be articulated in any esoteric language, right? It doesn't have to be presented in any spectacle. You just need to experience it and to trust that, let's say, Danielle is the right person to see your light, hold that light, and then hold you to the fire of that light expanding the way that it was meant to by the one who gave you the light, right? Which you and I both call God, right? And so that is your anointing, and it's so beautiful to witness. And
Thank
I'm so
you.
excited for all the things that you're creating, to be part of everything you're creating in whatever way I'm meant to. And would you share if there's anything that maybe I didn't give you a chance to speak to or didn't ask you? What would that be to the person listening who is curious about what we just discussed?
You asked everything perfectly. There's nothing you left out. It was perfect. But I would just say, as you're listening, really ask yourself, what do you really want?
Mm,
What is God calling you to?
mhm,
And what's stopping you from doing that? And then just take one action today, whatever that is, to bring you one step closer. Whether that's doing the thing you said you were going to do that you haven't done yet, right? The implementation, whether that is investing in yourself, whether that is getting a good night's sleep, right? It could be something so insignificant or something huge. But what is that very next thing that's going to propel you to being exactly where you are living your mission in
mm,
your full totality? And just do that
mhm.
one thing today.
Amen. And it could be all the above. It'd be like, oh, I need
Totally.
to do all of it. Of course. That's great, because everything's like, yeah, that's absolutely, especially to the human being who knows they're already at a higher level of achievement and purpose. They know, right? They know their power, but there's this misalignment of some kind, right? That's creating a bottleneck in their capacity to create what they really want. Yeah. Danielle, thank you so much for your presence, for your wisdom, and for anyone listening, find this woman. I'll obviously share your links in the description. If you're going to hear this before, when does the Master Heart close?
Applications close on September 6th.
Okay. Okay. So if you're listening to this before, apply to the Master Heart. And even if it's already done, still check out the Master Heart. I'm sure there will be other offerings if you follow Danielle there. And yes, thank you so much, Danielle, for the gift of your light and the presence that you bring to everything that you do, and how much it's impacted my life and my work. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sasha, for being who you are, as the radiant light that you are, and holding so much embodied wisdom. Thank you for having me and asking these beautiful questions that allowed all of this flow to come out today. You're so spectacular. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. And I love you. And I will see you very soon. I'm really excited we get to see each other in another not mastermind, but experience. And we'll have more conversations for people in terms of just sharing a little bit more maybe about who to follow, right? And actually the event we're going to is full of women who we wholeheartedly recommend and support. And so we'll do more of that, just shining light on other incredible leaders in this industry of, what do we call it? Well, let's call it something that hasn't been claimed yet. The industry of, what would you call it?
What about transformative liberation?
Ooh, the industry of transformative liberation. I love that. Yes, it includes all of the things that you might consider personal development or growth. Transformative liberation, freedom and transformation. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you. And thank you for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much, my friend, for listening to this episode of Being Brave. If you found the show helpful in any way, it would mean the world to me if you would review the show with a 5-star rating so that more people like you can find it. And if you want more clarity and confidence in your direction right now, you can grab a free resource I created for you in the show notes below. Until next time, know that I believe in you. I love you, and I'm so grateful for you. Be brave in following the truth of your calling and your vision. May God bless you. I'll speak to you soon.